All right, here we go. Another week in the NFL. Another week in the NFL. I mean, we've already had four games played this week on this Thanksgiving weekend. Hopefully, all Thanksgiving was nice and good and warm because it's cold everywhere and there's snow flying and weather's going to play a role in a lot of these outdoor games here today. But obviously, it has. I'll be honest with you. Even though my Thanksgiving family wise was okay, my football Thanksgiving has been miserable. Nothing's going right. My Ravens get punked out by a returning Joe Burrow, and that tells you how bad that AFC North is. I mean, how the what that division's crazy because I don't know. I don't know. We'll talk about that. But obviously, the Cowboys they look like they're ready to make a run. All of a sudden, it's like all of a sudden in the last few weeks they've turned this around. And then the Eagles, the Birds. What happened? Not a good game. And obviously the Bears came here. They weren't expecting to win, but they not only win, they dominated. And the Eagles did something they haven't done in 10 years. They gave up over 250 rushing yards. They have even in Dougie P's era, they didn't do that. But obviously there is troubles and horizon. And like I said, the 2023 discussion of collapse, it could be, they claim it could be worse than even that year. And it might be because we haven't even gotten to December yet. That's when the collapse normally happens. We're not even in December yet. But obviously a lot to discuss here in a very short time. We got a lot of games to discuss, but before we get to it, Matt, you have something to explain about Friday's game.
Yeah, not even explain. Just I got someone to call out because it was annoying me big time. So I'm like, I know Merrill Reese is like a beloved figure there in Philly.
Uh-oh.
He's been he's been announcing games for 50 years almost.
Uh-oh.
And put some more effort into his broadcasting, man. Because when I was younger too, even we would always think versus the Fox announcers. But we really did that until like 2013, until I moved down to Florida. I stopped doing that. So I haven't listened to this guy in a long time. But I was working Friday, so I couldn't watch the game. So I had to put it on the radio and listen to it. And I mean, come on, man. It might be minor, but it just shows a complete lack of professionalism, work ethic, everything, man. This guy, it was so annoying that from the opening possession, he kept going. The Bears are on the field, playing on first pass to Romo Dunze. They went to. He goes, "Oh, Romo Dunze, he's calling him the whole game. Oh, Dunze." And he even said, like, after that first or second pass to Dunze, he's like, "Oh, I've Romo Dunze since Washington with." So you're supposed to be watching this guy for 3-4 years and you haven't learned his name, even though the announcers are calling him Romo Dunze. He's changing it up throughout the game. He's like, Odunze, 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 the whole game. And even Mike Quick, every time Mike Quick said something about him, oh yeah, he called him the right name. This Romo Dunze, this kid's going to be a really good receiver in this league. But Merrill couldn't even figure that out. Totally different name, and you just keep going with Odunze. Like, dude, come on, man, that's your job. Like, I get it's minor and he's not even evil, but when you're an announcer for a game, the bare minimum you need to be able to do is learn all the players' numbers and names and how to pronounce it. That's bare minimum. These guys are supposed to be putting in effort throughout the week to learn this stuff. They're supposed to be look at getting like some interesting notes on these players so they can talk about this type, like something interesting about the player or stats, something. They're supposed to have stuff to talk about during the game. And this guy couldn't even put in the effort to learn everybody's name. And then he tries to pretend like he's been watching this guy for years. It's like, dude, if you've been watching this guy for years, you'd at least know how to pronounce his name. It's pathetic.
I thought you were going to talk about when he called DeAndre Swift Devontae Smith and didn't even
No,
correct himself.
I actually caught that too because I was listening to it.
He wouldn't even correct himself.
I know. You know what? I forgot about that, but I did catch that because I was kind of listening while I was working, and I heard him say Devontae Smith, and he's like it was like a big running play. So I'm like, what? They just do like an end around, and like I didn't even realize that the Bears were on the field at that moment. So I'm like, oh shit, yeah, because I got Devontae Smith on one of my fantasy teams too. I'm like, yeah, that's good. The Eagles are moving the ball, and then then I realized that the Bears were on the field, and he was talking about DeAndre Swift. I'm like, come on, man. So yeah, I mean, this guy, he's been doing this for 50 years. Maybe he's too old. I mean, personally, after a long time, I kind of thought his act got played out after a while, so I kind of got tired of him anyway. But I get he's a beloved figure in Philly. He's been doing this 50 years, but dude, if you're not going to put in the effort, to the bare minimum effort, and you're getting paid, I'm sure he's getting paid a lot of money to announce, 17 games a year, maybe 20. Then it's time to go. Just go off into the sunset and bring someone else in, So, yeah, I got to call that out.
I can call it. But anyway, The funny thing, Matt, you're bringing up Murrow. I met Murrow a few weeks ago while pumping my tires in Bluebell. I was at a gas station at Wawa, and he just was pumping gas by himself. He was by himself. Nobody even knew he was around. And then trying not to be a crazy fan, I just let him do his business. I did mine. And then I said something. He heard me. And then we talked a little bit, took a selfie. I was going to show my cousin that on Thanksgiving, and I couldn't find the picture. So I have to look for that picture. But yeah. I mean, I feel bad. He is over 80 years old. He is an Eagles, obviously an Eagles legend, a Philly sports legend with the call and stuff. But, you start slipping. Look, if you're 50, you start slipping. It's one thing. He's 80 years old. I mean, I understand. Yeah, I understand. Burrow is starting to get a little long in the tooth. But if he can still call the games, if he can still get out of bed, hey. I mean, it is what it is.
You know what? I could understand slipping as in like Paul accidentally calling DeAndre Swift Devontae Smith. I mean, I could understand that. But if you can't even learn the players' names and how to pronounce them, then I mean, that's just lazy. That's lazy and unprofessional, man. So, if he's going to get paid all that money. I mean, at least put in the bare minimum effort. That's all I'm saying.
Well, maybe in another show we could debate or who could replace him in like 2 to 3 years.
I have no clue about that, man.
But
maybe they can bring in like Jason Kelce. Well, Jason Kelce would be more like a color commentator. He'd be like a Mike Quick replacement.
Nah, I wouldn't put Jason in the booth. It'd be like Tony Romo but more partying. Anyway, so let's get to these games. Obviously, we'll have a lot of time on later this week to discuss the Eagles debacle again, and it's the sky falling. I know you would have a lot to say about that in a nutshell, but obviously we'll wait till the look back this week. But anyway, as we look at these matchups, like I said, we have a lot of matchups we gotta get to very quickly, but there are some games we will go through quickly, but we also have some unanimous picks. So we have 3. We got Jacksonville over Tennessee.
Yeah, no reason to talk about that trash.
Chargers over the Raiders, and that's obviously critical because that's Eagles' next opponent next Monday, the Chargers, out there in Inglewood. But they're playing the Raiders today.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have to talk about that. Only thing a note here for fantasy-wise, since we're getting down to the last 2 weeks of the regular season for fantasy football, Marion Hampton is still out this week. So Kamani Vidal is going to be the only running back. So anyone that has that's been waiting for Hampton to come back, you're going to have to wait at least one more week.
Yeah. Also, the Dolphins we have over the Saints for
Yeah,
lack of a
that might not be unanimous, but it's a trash game, not worth talking about.
All right, so the first game we're going to talk about, and we're not going to talk much, but this is not considered unanimous. The Falcons they beat the Saints for whatever that means. They go up to the Meadowlands today. Weather's going to be a mess. Snow flurries, probably not really going to be snow flurries, but rain and cold, as most places on the East Coast will have to deal with. Rain and cold today. Do the Falcons at least get a back-to-back win for a change? Go ahead. Gets a Jets.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much about it, but I'm going to name this game the Fossil Bowl because we got two fossils at quarterback in Tyrod versus Kirk Cousins, you know? So, uh, bottom line, both Kirk Cousins actually played well last week, surprisingly. Maybe with some time to prepare for games, he's playing better, but the coaching staff's horrible. The weather's going to be bad. I don't expect a big game out of him. I don't even know if Drake London's playing. I haven't even paid attention, but the Jets defense, well, the Jets whole team is garbage. I'm going to say Atlanta pulls it out with a big game from Bijan Robinson, and I'll say the final score, I don't know, man, 20, 22-19.
Yeah, this is not going to be a great game. I think they got Fox's lowest total guy, probably Chris Myers. He's going to call the game probably because he always gets the lower end of the game. But if you put a good commentator next to Chris Myers, he actually is a little better than people would give credit for. But in this matchup, like I said, it's not a great matchup. The Falcons, this season's basically done, as we know. This is not a game that in a few weeks we can look over as far as postseason because both aren't going. But I'm going to go with the Jets here just because I think Breece Hall will run the ball well. And I think in this kind of weather, this kind of favors the Jets more because the Falcons are kind of an indoor team, as you know. So give me the Jets here. Final score 25-20.
Okay.
All right. Like I said, some critical matchups here today. Like I said, Tampa Bay has not played well the last several weeks. Losers of 3 of their last 4. They're at home today. One of the very few games outdoors today above 50 degrees. This obviously is one of them. Those should be in the low 70s where they're at. But a critical matchup for them because Carolina isn't going away. They might be the better team, but they haven't played Carolina yet. They have the Cardinals coming in here with Jacoby Brissett. Don't underestimate Jacoby. He's a good backup. He's done very well, but can Tampa Bay bounce back? I know the Cardinals aren't a great team, but they're not a slouch either. So this could be a critical game. Can Tampa get their act together? They're very banged up, as you would know when you play fantasy. You got 4 teams, so you know their roster very well. Not just because you used to live there either. Go ahead.
All right, man. Well, in terms of Arizona, I mean, okay, Jacoby Brissett is a capable quarterback. He's not some star, but I mean, he's obviously played way better than Kyler Murray has. At least the receivers are getting some numbers out there. But Tampa's got a tough defense. Josh Sweat has 9 sacks so far this year. I told you, I said before, I told you in the offseason, this last offseason, letting him go was a mistake. It's proven to be a mistake. He's really good. I haven't seen if Marvin Harrison's playing or not. I don't really think it even matters to me, in my opinion, because Tampa is going to win this game. But there are a lot of question marks with Tampa right now, man. I mean, Baker Mayfield was awesome to start the year, but he's gotten banged up over the last few weeks. Now, last week he got the ace on his left shoulder, an AC joint sprain. He's going to try to play through it, but it's going to be a tough injury to play through, man. And they are getting some reinforcements back. Bucky Irving is expected to play. Chris Godwin is expected to play. Mike Evans isn't playing yet this week, but they are saying, I just saw earlier today, that they're expecting him to be back fairly soon. And Jalen McMillan has been cleared to, I think, practice. I don't think he's cleared to play yet, but practice. So all of a sudden, they're getting a whole bunch of weapons for him back on top of it. Emeka Egbuka, who's been awesome this year. That'll be enough. Let's be real. The Cardinals are not a good team. Jacoby Brissett is made them better, but still not good. Tampa's got that D. They're gonna play well. It might be a lower scoring game just because of Baker's injuries, but Tampa still pulls it out. I'm gonna say 20-16.
Yeah, I won't take long with this matchup. I mean, obviously these are two teams that are struggling with injuries, and for Tampa, they're just trying to hang on to a playoff spot, even though they're leading the division. But Carolina, they have the same number of wins. They have one less loss though, but they have lost 3 of their last 4 games, and it hasn't really looked good for them. Obviously, because of the injuries, they have an excuse. Obviously, for the Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett pretty much is going to be their quarterback for the rest of this season. Don't look like Kyler Murray's coming back at all. Doesn't look like it at all. But that might be more than just an injury excuse. But when you look at this Cardinal team, I mean, one thing is for sure is Brissett is the healthier quarterback. So I expect Cardinals to play well today. I expect them to play well. Now, can Tampa pull this off? I think they will, but this is going to be a battle. And, like I said, it's going to be tough when you have an injury. And like I said, they're all banged up on that Tampa Bay. I mean, like I said, Baker has a shoulder sprain, a grade two shoulder sprain, as you know, of the AC joint. So like I said, it's going to be tough. But I'll give the Bucks a little bit of an advantage here. They'll find what if they run the ball. Yeah, I'm sure the Eagles defense should know if you can run the ball, you can have some more success to do other things. So I expect Bucky Irving to have a decent game. So I'm going to go with your former adopted home team, and the final score 27-24.
Okay.
All right. We all talk about reunions. We all love reunions. You know that. Sam Darnold has a reunion today. The team he played for last year. The Minnesota Vikings come to Seattle. And let's be honest. The Vikings wish they had Sam Darnold. When would we ever say that we would say that some team wish they had Sam Darnold? But that's where the Vikings are at, because JJ McCarthy looks fraudish and he's injured and he's not playing today. They're starting a rookie because Carson Wentz is done for the season. So they're starting a rookie today. I forgot his name. You might know him. You got Scouting Report.
Oh, yeah.
But the Seattle with the biggest spread of the week, 11.5 points, but we didn't take them. And I didn't want to take it because I'm afraid of that point spread. But Seattle still trying to win this NFC West. They get another opportunity with the Rams later on this season. So, but how bad is things going to be for the Vikings, knowing that their season's basically over, and now they have to face a guy that they wish they still had? Go to this matchup.
Well, yeah, like you said, JJ McCarthy has been a complete bust this year, one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. That's not to say he can't turn it around, but he has looked terrible in the games that he's played. He's been injured a lot too. And now the injuries are starting to become a trend versus just a one-time thing. And then, like you said, Wentz is out. So we're looking at Max Brosmer at quarterback. And we'll see, man. We'll see what happens with this kid. He's a rookie, undrafted rookie out of Minnesota. He's not some guy that's going to beat you with his legs. He's not some huge, big arm quarterback. But what he does bring to the table is he can go through his reads. He goes through them quick. He can get rid of the ball quick, accurately. And he actually played really well in the preseason and training camp. He was generating a lot of buzz, actually, out in Minnesota. Now, obviously, this is a big step up, but we'll see. I mean, there's been talk. I got him. I picked him up in the off season and put him on both my taxi squads on my two dynasty teams. So I've been sitting on the guy all year. So we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are Brosmer boys. They think he's going to be good. There's a lot of people trying to compare this to like a Brock Purdy, Trey Lance situation. I don't know that I'd go that far, but who knows? You never know. Give the kid a chance, see what happens. He comes out and plays really well against one of the best defenses in the NFL. Minnesota might have no choice but to let him play again next week. Um, but the bottom line, they're going up against Seattle. Like I said, that defense is really one of the best in the NFL right now. They're playing well. Sam Darnold, you know what? He's found the right system. He's still in another sort of Kevin O'Connell style system. He's got a lot of talent around him, and he's playing well. I personally, once they get to the playoffs, we're going to see another repeat of last year because he's just not that good a quarterback. But, regular season, he's playing well, just like last year. And they're going up against a bad team. Minnesota does have a fairly tough defense, but, I just think that Seattle D is going to be really tough for a young undrafted rookie quarterback making his first NFL start. I just think it's going to be a tough one. I'm pulling for Brosmer. It would help my dynasty teams out to have a young quarterback, which I have a whole bunch of them sitting on my bench. But, if one of them can come through like him, be something. But it's not going to happen this week. Seattle wins. I'm going to say final score. I'll say 27-13.
Like I said, I don't know anything about that guy. Obviously, Matt, you know the scouting reports and these quarterbacks, and you take a good look, even though it's not, you can't really watch these preseason games out just watching. You just watch for rookie talent to see if they can actually make the team and can produce at times during regular season.
Yeah, you look for guys that show upside, that have the show that they have the ability to play in the NFL. You watch these fourth quarters in the preseason, what happens actually doesn't matter. You're just looking at individual players at that point.
Yeah. That's what the preseason's become. It's not you just watch to see if these guys can make the roster and can produce at points during the year. Basically, it's like watching the UFL, that spring football league. When you get to August football in the NFL, basically similar deal. Everybody's trying to impress these coaches, these owners, everybody. It's basically the same thing now. But like I said, I'm not going to talk much about him because I don't know anything about the guy. You obviously just gave a report. But let's be honest, J.J. McCarthy, look, I don't know if he can play or not. Like you told me last week, 16 games is your minimum of learning about a quarterback if he's going to make it or not. But then again, you can be a bust also because of injuries. And here's a guy who's been injured too many times. Missed the whole season last year, his entire rookie season last year. And this is the third time this year he's been injured? Like I said, and he hasn't looked good in the games he has played. So, like I said, J.J. McCarthy, I mean, look, you comparing that rookie to J.J. McCarthy like Trey Lance and Brock Purdy a few years ago in San Francisco, I don't see it. I just don't, because I can't see that this guy would become what Brock Purdy has been for the 49ers. He has to have thick skin. He has to win tough games. He has to beat good teams. Now, if he can come out to Seattle and beat the Seahawks, who have been playing really, really good football this year, especially as good as they've been, then yeah, that will open some eyes around the league. But this is a tough spot for him. And Seattle is a team that, look, Sam Darnold's not going to be the reason they go far in the playoffs. Like you said, the defense is playing really, really well. Number 4 overall in the league right now. And obviously, and then Jackson Smith-Njigba, you didn't even bring him up of how great a receiver he's been this year. My God.
He's been awesome, man.
He's potentially, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but he's on pace for almost 2,000 yards. And we've never had a 2,000-yard receiver in this league. Now, Does it happen this year? I don't know. Like you said, Vikings do play pretty tough defense. They have a really good front four, but like I said, it's not like they're smashing guys. They're just getting by. So, like I said, I think this is going to be a beatdown for Minnesota. Like I said, they're going to be very jealous and very upset that they made the stupid mistakes and why they're a stupid franchise. They are the stupidest franchise in the league because you just let Sam Darnold walk out your damn door and look what he's doing. So, like I said, you be if you had Sam Darnold this year, you be that team again or on that verge, but not this year. Seattle wins big, final score 38-20.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Brosmer is the next Brock Purdy. I'm just saying there have been people online making that comparison. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying, he's been generating buzz. But no, JSN has been awesome this year, man. And that draft, what did I tell you? I forget who we drafted that year. That might have been was that the Jordan Davis year? I don't know.
Was he drafted in 23 or 22?
I forget what year he was drafted. This is
Jordan
year
Davis
3.
was, I think, 22. He was drafted.
Yeah, this is year 3 for him.
So he was drafted in 23.
So what was that then? The Jalen Carter year?
Yes.
No, you were picking later that year, I thought. Maybe not.
Well,
no, maybe not. Okay.
He wasn't a top 10 guy or top 15 guy. I think he was a first round pick, but later in the first round.
No, he was a first rounder. He was right around 22.
Yeah.
He was in the 20s.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was another year I kept saying. Yeah, his first year was 2023. So, no, the guy, that was the year I was saying too, that was after the Super Bowl year. I was like, yo, we need to get another receiver in here. We need to get a receiver, this and that. And I think that was also the year that Puka was out there, but there were a couple receivers in that draft.
Yeah,
It wasn't
but he was a 5th rounder. Remember that?
Yeah, no, I know. But I was even saying that year, I'm like, look, I'll take Quentin Johnson, I'll take JSN, or I'll take Jordan Addison. But I mean, I was saying then I thought JSN and Quentin Johnson were probably the 2 best receivers in that draft. Quentin Johnson has been, he's come back, he's come alive this year and played well, but
hit or miss.
Yeah, he's kind of like a big play threat.
Njigba looks like he could be that guy. He could be that guy for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't even imagine this offense, Kevin Patullo would still ruin it, but I couldn't imagine how good this offense would have been last year with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and JSN at receiver. It'd be ridiculous, and Saquon at running back.
Yeah, we can only dream. But anyway.
Yeah. But sometime soon, we're going to have to use a high draft pick on a receiver because let's be real, A.J. Brown's getting older, man, and it just is what it is. We got to get some depth in here, and we got to get a future replacement for him. Both.
And people thought me saying Justin Jefferson for A.J. Brown trade was crazy. But anyway, we'll see what happens this offseason. How we can trust Howie to a degree, we'll see. All right. We're going to go to the Sunday and Monday night matchups. There's a trend going on with these games. The top 2 teams in the AFC standings are hosting bottom feeder NFC East teams. So tonight, Denver is in Washington, and both are coming off byes. Washington still doesn't have Jalen Daniels, so your cousin Mariota gets another start. And New England, who currently has the best record in the NFL or the most wins at 10, will place the Giants, and they're bringing back Jackson Dart. But I give a very disturbing trend about Jackson Dart coming up here. But we'll talk about that in that matchup. So the first matchup, we'll go to to the Sunday night game because Washington's basically done and dead. Denver's trying to put this division away, try to stay in hunt for the 1 seed in the AFC with New England. Very critical matchup. Go to this first one.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, what like you said, Washington's finished. They're talking about bringing back Jaden Daniels this year. I don't even know why you'd bother, man. That just would be idiotic. That would be Dan Quinn trying to save his job. And if the front office had any balls, if they tried to bring him back, they would say, no, he's not playing the rest of the year. Why bother? Just let Mariota play at this point. And going up against that tough Denver defense, Mariota's not going to do anything, man. Denver wins this one easy, 34-16.
Well, it would be unanimous if it wasn't a Sunday night matchup. So, and to me, they should have flexed that. If they knew this was going to be a bad Sunday night matchup, they should just flex it. But obviously, Denver is a top team, and they've struggled offensively at times. They're kind of like the Eagles, but with a better defense because they get to the quarterback. That's something the Eagles have obviously struggled with this year, or at least a lot more than Denver has. Denver has, 50 sacks this year? So, like I said, yeah, Washington, we've been down this road with Washington or another Sunday night game like 4 weeks ago with Seattle, 3 weeks ago. It's bullshit. Denver wins big, 40-14.
Yeah.
All right, now this one might be more compelling. Like I said, we talked about bad teams in the NFL, obviously. The Giants, the bad team, is the most exciting bad team we've ever watched. You have to admit, Matt, even if you don't watch Giant games, they have been fun to watch this year. Giants are fun to watch, even though they suck. They were what I thought New England was going to be this year. Tough to deal with, even though they weren't going to win many games. But I was wrong. Vrabel has tapped into that Brady Belichick magic that he once had in his seat in person and working under, and it has worked. And Drake May is an MVP contender in year number 2. Basically, if the Bills lose today, this could be close to a division clincher as early as next week, or they have a bye next week actually. But in 2 weeks, if the Bills don't win today, New England's next game could be a division clincher. Whoever thought that? Big matchup here with the Giants. Go ahead, Monday night.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, Jackson Dart's playing. The Giants were exciting for a little bit with that Dart and Scattaboo. Scattaboo's already injured. So, they got Dart, but we'll see what happens with him. But the team's not good. 2-10, no Malik Neighbors going up against the Patriots with 10-2. I mean, Drake May, he wasn't my favorite quarterback in that draft. I was kind of neutral on him. Maybe it's the North Carolina quarterbacks. I kind of might have a bias against North Carolina quarterbacks, but he's broken out, man. He's taken himself into near elite category. I can't put him in elite category because this guy hasn't made any type of playoff run. But the way he's played this year, he's definitely looking like a real franchise quarterback, and he's taken his team back to prominence. Buffalo, we'll get to them in a minute. But for this game, yeah, New England, Drake May is going to have a big game, I expect. And the Giants, they don't have a shot in this one, man. I'm gonna say 31-20.
Well, like I said, with Jackson Dart back in, quarterback has not been their struggles this year because these quarterbacks do play. I mean, Jameis Winston played well in Detroit and played particularly well in Green Bay. Both obviously losing efforts, but hey, why the hell is he a third string quarterback? I'll never know. But when you look at Jackson Dart, he obviously has played well this year at times, but he's very reckless, which he needs to clean up. Whoever the next coach is, next year for this team. He has had 4 concussion threats, and he's obviously missed the last 2 games with the concussion. So for him, he has to play smarter because if you don't play if you play reckless, you're basically Anthony Richardson, the Giant B's team. You play reckless and you won't last long. So he's got to be a better quarterback. He has to, and they've even told him you got to play this game a lot smarter because you go and get, as we all know, you go in the NFL from college, the defenses are faster. They're relatively faster by like 5 miles, like a 5-mile-an-hour difference. So you just have to be smarter. And yeah, I understand he's been pushing the envelope. Scaboo being injured, Malik sadly losing, miss. He was out early with the knee. But obviously, he's got Theo Johnson and those guys who have stepped up. Tyrone Tracy's been a decent running back. I mean, they're not great, but they are what they are. They move the ball, but like I said, this team, who knows? It's been a circus more than a 3-ring. It's been a 5-ring. But when you look at New England, they are the surprise team. They're in first place, and they're closing in on the division title, Matt. Big surprise. Nobody expected that. Nobody. And Drake May. Hey, Josh McDaniels might be a horrendous head coach. He's a damn good offensive coach, and he's gotten a lot out of May. He has gotten a lot out of him. I don't think Drake May would be even half the quarterback he is without Josh McDaniels helping him out. So we got to give Josh McDaniels his flowers there. Without him, this Patriots team probably is about maybe 4 or 5 wins less than they actually are. I think he's won them a lot more games with that knowledge. And they're going to win this game. It won't be easy though, because the Giants, they're the best bad team I've seen in years. They're the best bad team I've seen in years. They will play hard. They play you hard, and you have to admit that. 5 10-point blown leads this year. 5. They're not a team that's going to get blown out. They're not Washington. They're not getting their ass destroyed. This is going to be a battle. But I give New England the win here. Final score 31-24.
I mean, I don't know that McDaniel's some great offensive coach either, man. I mean, what's he even done without Tom Brady or now Drake May? I mean, having a great coach makes you look a lot better as a offensive play caller, or having a great quarterback makes you look a lot better as an offense.
Who's that backup that's now in San Francisco started this year?
Mac Jones.
Yeah, he got a lot out of him in 2021. Remember him?
No, I wouldn't say he got a lot out of him. He got an average performance out of him. Mac Jones actually looked better this year under Kyle Shanahan than he ever did. But I would say Josh McDaniels is just okay. Just like, Brian Daboll, yeah, he looked great when he was offensive coordinator for the Bills and Josh Allen was his quarterback. All of a sudden, he doesn't have an elite quarterback and, he's out of a job.
Well, like I said, I don't know what's the strengths in because New England, if that's the case, then what the hell are they doing at 10-2 this year? Then they must have played a very easy schedule. Easier.
Well, they had a nice schedule, but Drake May he's been like the best. He might have been this year, not just in general, but this year he might be the best quarterback in the league so far this year. Like he's playing at an elite level, man. And he's been consistent. It's not like Josh Allen where he disappears for a month or something, or like Patrick Mahomes where he only plays a quarter every week. Yeah,
that's what you got to do. Because if you're consistent and you're putting up numbers, then that's why the team is winning and you're an MVP contender. And like I said, if this team is very close to a division title, and Drake may very well be the league MVP. If they give it to a quarterback. But I think they will, obviously. But if you're saying those two things, then I expect an MVP award at NFL Honors, and I expect the Patriots to not only win the division, potentially make a deep run in the postseason. So you're
You know,
basically
as
just
of today,
answered your two questions.
yeah, well, I mean, as of today, if the season ended right now and you were going to give the MVP to a quarterback, I don't see anyone else who would get it over Drake May. If you just say anybody, Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey come into the mix, I guess. But um, beyond that, no, I mean, Drake May. What other quarterback would you give MVP to right now? Nobody.
Maybe Stafford. Maybe Stafford.
Stafford, yes, he's played well, but
He's got what almost 30 touchdown passes this year.
yeah,
Has more than
no, he's been really good, but I just don't see him getting MVP. He's not a guy that is splashy. He's just a guy that goes out there and plays really well every week. You know what I
well.
mean?
Well, here's the thing: if this is flashy, how about this? Don't give it to a quarterback this year. Don't give it to them. Give it to a running back. Why not?
Hey, it's a possibility. I mean, the way Jonathan Taylor has played, especially now that Daniel Jones is injured. If Taylor keeps playing at that level, and then um, the Colts somehow get the number one seed, he probably would get it.
Yeah, we'll get to the Colts here in just a moment. Now, there was a game that people will say I missed, but I actually didn't, and this is a game I actually picked in the pick'ems. Look, San Francisco is out, well, close to the East Coast today. They play the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, it's not on paper. It's not a good matchup because the Browns are terrible, but they're at home, and the weather's going to be on their side. And Myles Garrett's having a hell of a year. Right there, that's the ingredients. Okay, and we know that Brock Purdy has not been healthy this year, and he's not been consistent either with making great plays. So, look, I'm saying not because of Shedeur, despite of Shedeur. That's why I picked this matchup. Not because of Shedeur, despite of Shedeur, because the in-house defense will hunt today. Can the 49ers do anything about it in their hopeful request to make the playoffs and to at least stay in the NFC West race with Seattle and the Rams? Go to it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Shadur, come on, man, give me a break. Um, Everyone wants to pretend like he's some great quarterback. I shouldn't say that, but people are trying to pretend like he had some really good game last week because they're picking and choosing a couple plays that he made. He's not good. He'll never be good. This is gonna be a tough game for him, man. I mean, like you said, the weather conditions aren't great to begin with, but the Niners are. This isn't gonna be pretty, man. Christian McCaffrey, he'll have a good game. He might not go off, but he'll have a good game. That defense is tough. They'll hold him in check to a degree, but he'll probably end up with like say I don't know. Let's say I'm gonna predict McCaffrey's stats here: 76 rush yards, one rushing touchdown, seven receptions for 63 yards, and receiving touchdown. And the Niners win that. With that, just two touchdowns from McCaffrey, the Niners win the game easy. I'm sure they'll get some more points besides 14, but Niners win this one. Man. This is a trash game. Cleveland's nothing. So yeah, 49ers final score. I'm gonna say I'll say 26-10.
Well, today's weather today in Cleveland, about 25 degrees, a pretty solid wind, and a threat of 3 inches of snow possibly. Like I said, we saw kind of a snow game a little bit. No, did we see a snow game out there? No, we didn't see one in the NFL yet. But I've seen a lot. I saw some snow games yesterday in college. And obviously, that Lake Erie, that lake effect snow has been really hampering my buddy Dave out in Meadville, Pennsylvania, which is like 60 miles from Pittsburgh. got about a foot and a half. Obviously, it is cold and stuff, and this is not good weather for Seattle. I mean, for San Francisco, they obviously play in a comfortable bind out there in the Bay Area, so this is not good weather for them. But obviously, we'll see what happens here. Look, I just mentioned Shador. I'm not expecting much from him. I did not pick the Browns this week in my pick'ems because of Shador Sanders going to have an all-around game. He just has to not make stupid mistakes. Be a game manager. That's it. I don't give a fuck what he does in this game. The defense. Myles Garrett is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. If you give it to somebody else, sue your ass. Even though, the team is not very good. He's going to break the since 1982 sack record. He's on pace for 24 or 25 sacks this year. So, to me, he's going to have another big game. 3.5. I'm going to predict 3.5 sacks from him. Brock's going to have it difficult. He basically better have Christian McCaffrey to bail him out. And that's the only way the 49ers are going to have any success against that defense. But I think they'll do enough because they're the better team on paper. But they again, nobody on paper plays. I think that that's going to be enough to win this game. Christian gets a late touchdown. It's going to be tough to score in this game. This is terrible weather. And Cleveland this is a rough place to play, even on a good weather day for a good team. Because that defense is tough. That is a tough defense at home. You can't sit there and say they aren't. Nobody's going to Cleveland. Let's just say this. Nobody's going there and rushing for 280 yards against them. It ain't happening. Not against that defense. Taking a shot at somebody else. But at the end of the day, I see the 49ers winning, but I do see the Browns covering. And this is going to be like a field goal game. I think the Browns have a legit chance to pull an upset here. But I'm going to go with the San Francisco on a walk-off field goal. And the final score, 16-13.
Okay.
But I agree with you. I'm not expecting Shador to do shit anyway. I don't worry about him. Don't worry. There's a reason I picked the game. It's not him. Trust me. I'm not delusional like that. But anyway, am I delusional picking this next matchup? The Rams, now fully in first place, not worry about the Eagles anymore. Basically, they can cruise to the 1 seed if they continue their trend. Interesting matchup, though, in Carolina. It will be chilly down there. Maybe the weather won't be too bad compared to up north, but still chilly, about 50 degrees down there or around there. Still cool down there, but interesting matchup here. But like I said, it's not like West Coast teams are struggling against East Coast teams at 1 o'clock like they used to. This should be an interesting matchup. Can the Panthers play well relatively against the 49ers on Monday night? Can they hang with the Rams, or are the Rams going to kill them? Interesting matchup here. Carolina technically wins this game, and Tampa Bay doesn't in first place. Think about it. Go ahead.
Oh man, I forgot about this game altogether.
Uh-oh.
I would have just skipped over this one, honestly. Yeah. Bottom line, Carolina is what they are, man. They're a solid team with a bad quarterback and a really good coaching staff. That's what they are. That's why they're 6-6. Instead of 2-10, whatever. But the Rams are probably the best team in the NFC, possibly the best team in the NFL right now. Their defense is top notch. They have a great offense, a great offensive play caller. I mean, they're top of the line everywhere right now. They're going to be the number 1 seed with the way the Eagles are playing. No one else is going to be able to catch them. So, yeah, this is easy. Rams win. And it won't even be close. 37-17.
Yeah, sadly, I do agree with you. I just think that the Rams now, with the Eagles' struggles this week, they could pretty much cruise to the 1 seed. At this point, Matthew Stafford, like you said, if you're looking at an MVP contender, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the MVP when this is all said and done. Guy has 27 touchdowns and no interceptions in the last since week 5. That's pretty scary. That's pretty damn good. He leads the league with 30 touchdowns this year. It's obvious that of all quarterbacks, and he's playing really well for a guy who came in injured and was ready to retire. Hey, he might walk away after this season, but he's doing well. And like I say, I think he's doing even better than he did in his 2021 year when he won. But this could be tough for Carolina. They obviously play, like I said, we talk a lot about the underachievers. They aren't the underachievers; they're the overachievers because nobody expected them to be this good right now. We're in December 1st tomorrow, and they're still a playoff contender no matter what happens in this game because they have to play Tampa. Schedule's not easy for them down the stretch, and they can afford to get beat down today. They got beat down by Buffalo. What does that help them? So at the end of the day, this is a team that won't get phased, even if they get beat down, don't really matter to them. They still have a chance at this division. They're just waiting to face Tampa. If Tampa loses today, then this beatdown won't matter. So Rams win big. Final score 33-20.
Okay.
All right. Your favorite our team that we love to bash on Giant B, the Colts. Tough matchup here. They play now. The Colts have the hardest schedule left in the league of any team. They play every team right now with above 500 record. And comes in the team they're trying to take the division from, the Texans at 6-5. Yeah, Houston does not look great this year offensively like the Eagles, but their defense is awesome. One of the best in the league, if not the best. But C.J. Stroud returns after missing several weeks with a concussion. Davis Mills has done an exceptional job as a backup, which nobody, like Carolina, who saw that coming? Who saw him being a guy that kept Houston in this playoff mix? But they're doing well, but can they give Giant B a scare? Or can Giant B brag and tell us how great his football weekend was compared to ours? Interesting matchup here. Because Giant B's going to probably be on the show this week to brag about it. Go ahead.
Well, he'll either be on the show to brag about it, or he'll be, hiding in his mommy's basement, depending on the outcome of the game. But yeah, for this one, man, this is a must-win game for Houston no matter what. They lose, they got 6 losses. They could still, make a run at the playoffs, but it would be a long shot. But if they win this, they're only a game behind the Colts and possibly tied with Jacksonville or a game behind Jacksonville. And I don't know if they play Jacksonville again. I'm sure they do, but this is the first game against the Colts. And if they're a game behind with the tiebreaker and that game is week 18, that could that's all they win that game. They might win it, still might win the division, but they got to win this week. Like you said, Davis Mills, he's played well. CJ Stroud has not played well this year or last year, to be honest. He's been a disappointment. And after that rookie year, everyone was flying high, ready to crown him like the next big thing. And he's really taken multiple steps back. But Houston does have that defense, man, and they're going to need it going up against Jonathan Taylor. Like I said, MVP candidate right now. They need to not necessarily stop him, but slow him down. Daniel Jones is banged up. He's got a fractured fibula, That's no joke. They've been. It could be, it could be nonsense being played in the media, but they've been saying that, he hasn't. He's been limping around, like hasn't really looked good, but he's going to try to tough it out. which is good. Which he's a tough guy, tough quarterback, but I don't think he's good. And a guy that's a mediocre quarterback that's injured going up against an elite defense like that can really get after you. I don't know, man. I think that's a recipe for disaster. And if CJ Stroud just plays solid against a pretty bad Colts defense, I think Houston wins this one. So I'm going to go with Houston. I did try to make this my pick on when we talked on Wednesday, but the other guy, I forget his name, he already made that pick.
Lawrence. Yeah.
Yeah, but I am going to make it my lock of the week since I couldn't make it that pick. So the Houston's getting 3 points. I think at worst this is a 3-point game, even if they lose. So I'll take those 3. That's my lock of the week. Houston +3, but I think they win it outright. I'm going to go with a final score of let's say 19-17.
Yeah, this is going to be tough for the Colts. They haven't really been playing well lately since that great start they got on. Looking back on losing to the Chiefs, that was a game they're going to regret losing, because there's no way, because that was a game they were in control and they let them come back and beat them. And then you see what Dallas did and when they tried to do the same thing. So let's be honest. If you're the Colts and now you have a fibula injury, and that's not, hell, Joe Burrow came off of a busted toe. A fibula is almost season ending at this point. So we're going to see if Mr. Itty whatever Jones can actually, I could say idiotic, but we'll see if he plays not to be idiotic. So we're going to know a lot. But like I said, CJ Stroud hasn't played well this year, basically because he doesn't have a right game and he doesn't have an elite receiver this year. But we can trust their defense. Unlike the Eagles, their defense is badass. And I just think that if Taylor can't do anything against that defense, and even though the Colts do have a very good O-line, if they dominate that line, we saw what the Eagles had to deal with the Bears on Friday. A strong D-line against an O-line can win. And if they win that battle, they're going to win the game. So Houston wins. I say that with collective breath. They win 23-17. All right. Last game of the week. I don't think I should make this my game of the week. I don't think I have one this week. Maybe Cleveland and the 49ers, but that'd be like less of a thought. But hey, it's a great matchup when you look at it from a defensive offensive standpoint, that matchup. But this is a critical game for both of these teams because I'm starting to get this feeling when we get to the playoffs, one of these two teams or both of these two teams may not make it. The Bills are a mess right now. They have a lot of injuries. They have not been good on the road. They're on the road again this week. They have not looked good at all. Let's see what they can do in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has not looked good at all. Ravens, they got bonus help with Ravens losing. But let's be honest. These are two teams that are going nowhere if they don't get their act together. Aaron Rodgers returns from his injury. He's back. This is the late game on CBS with Nance and Romo. They get 2 games. So we'll see what happens here. But a critical matchup here for both teams that need this game. Need this game bad. Will they play like they need it? Or will they be too scared to know that the division's going to go to somebody else? Go to it.
Well, hey, man, I keep saying it every year, and it happens every year. Right around mid-season, Buffalo goes into a big slump, and they play terrible up until Thanksgiving. And then Thanksgiving, all of a sudden, they turn the Jets on. Every year, right around Thanksgiving, everyone's out on them. Oh, they're done. The season's over. And then they go off in all of December. So we're at that point, man. It's do or die now. once again, they're coming in here pretty cold. Not looking too hot lately. But hey, Pittsburgh hasn't been looking all that hot either, to be honest. And Aaron Rodgers is banged up. The only thing I got for Pittsburgh that could save them is their running game. Hey, there's I don't know what's going on over there, but I'm going to keep going. So basically, yeah, Pittsburgh's had to run the ball, which, by the way, that's Buffalo's biggest weakness is their run defense. So Kenny Gainwell, you remember that name? Former Eagle.
Yes.
He's been tearing up lately, man, and he's going to keep getting more carries. He's been looking really good. He dominated the last week. Look for him to have a big role this week, especially against. I mean, bottom line, if Pittsburgh wants to win this game, they're going to have to win it on the ground. So it's going to be the Kenny Gainwell show with some Jalen Warren sprinkled in there. But like I said, man, this is the time where Buffalo turns their season around every single year. Josh Allen, Buffalo might be banged up. They got Josh Allen. They got some receivers, maybe not great receivers, but Khalil Shakir. I'm not sure if Dalton Kincaid is even playing this week. He's questionable. But hey, Josh Allen's used to not having great receivers and still willing his team to the playoffs. So I'm going with Buffalo. This is the beginning of the turnaround. And I'm going to say the final score will be, let's go with 31-23.
Well, we've been down this road with Buffalo over the years. We all think about 2023 when they were really bad. They were almost at their mincemeat of trouble. Matt, I don't agree with you this year because they've had some terrible losses, like the Miami game. And let's be honest. I don't think they win the division. Normally, they would win the division and come back. New England's one more way away. They're 3 games ahead of them in the division in wins. I can't see a Patriots team that's rolling on both sides of the ball. And you already mentioned about Drake May playing the best quarterback in the league this year, in your opinion. I can't see them falling off. I can't see a collapse. They could slow it down a little bit. They have a tough stretch of games, but I just don't see it. And I'm starting to believe that if Buffalo doesn't win this game, there's a chance the playoffs may go on without them. I think they might be in trouble. I really do, because if you really look at the situation, both of these two teams need a big boost. Pittsburgh's in a tough division race that's been flipped over because of what Cincinnati did to Baltimore, to my Ravens on Thursday night. They need to win this game. And they have to win good. Because I can see both of these two teams on the outside looking in come January. And that's very scary to think. Do I think Josh will play well in this game? Sure. But he's very immune, unlike Jalen Hurts, who's struggling too. He's immune to turnovers. He's had multiple games with multiple turnovers. So, to me, that's a problem. That's a problem. And Pittsburgh's defense, even though it's not the elite defense it once was, and they're high paid, I just think that they can have a game where they can get to the quarterback. They can make Josh Allen struggle. And this is a bad weather game too, which is okay because Buffalo plays, obviously they play bad weather, so that's not an issue. But compared to they play on turf in Buffalo, this is in grass in Pittsburgh. That could be a problem. That could be a problem. And with the weather being the way it is here on the East Coast this week, cold, snow, wind, that could be a problem. Because like I just mentioned, Bills play on turf. Pittsburgh plays on grass. I think that's going to be a problem for Josh Allen. I do. I just think that this is going to be one of those slugfest games, and I just don't see where the Bills have a more momentum that they don't have. I think the Steelers will pull this out. Aaron Rodgers will find a way to get the ball down the field. And I say the Steelers win this game. It'll be a battle. I won't say it won't be, but I'm going to go with the Steelers here. Knowing what's going on in this division with the Ravens and the Bengals, and even the Browns, maybe? Nah, not the Browns. But the Bengals just woke this division, just flipped this division upside down. Give me the Steelers to win this game. Give me the Steelers. Final score 26-23.
Yeah, I don't buy it, but I mean, I'm also not saying Bills are going to win the division this year. I mean, the Patriots have a nice lead. They do play each other once more, but when you look at the Patriots' rest of season schedule, it's pretty weak, man. They got the Giants, then a bye, then the Bills game, then Ravens, Jets, Miami. I mean, even if they lose to the Bills, they're still up a game with bottom of the barrel teams at this point. And I know you love Baltimore, but you got to admit they're bottom of the barrel at right now. So,
yeah, Thursday wasn't fun. Like I said, it was not a good football weekend, as you know. But we'll
yeah.
see what happens. Like I said, hopefully your teams do well. Join us on Wednesday. Right now, it could be Thursday. We'll see. Look back, depends on Kwame, because I'm not doing this without him. But we're gonna have a lot. We're gonna have a lot of people on my show, and a first for me personally. We're gonna have a first for me this week on the look back. I can't tell you what the first is because you're not on. Then you just have to watch it, listen to it later on. But then we might make a major announcement potentially, and it involves you, Matt, and your birthday. But we're not telling you what it is. It's a secret. But 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 we will figure it out between a few of us, and we'll figure something out. But we do have something special planned in December, and involves you, and we'll tell you more about it a little later. I'll discuss it a little later on. But that's all we have for this episode. Hope your teams do well. Have mercy on the Eagles and the Ravens. They can turn this around for me. But it's not going to happen today because they're not playing. But we'll see what happens. But that's all we have. I'm going to take this out.
Well, hey, man. Hey, yo. One thing, if you're looking to do a lot of firsts on the show or just firsts in general, one thing you can always do is have a woman on the show with Johnny B, and that, could be the first time Johnny B has ever talked to a girl, let alone done anything else.
That would be funny if we could get a woman on here with him. that could be shocking. Maybe, but it's not going to happen this week. But it could happen down the road. You never know. Yeah. All right. That's all we have. See y'all later in the week.